welcome to the GCRO's Gauteng Budget Analysis Dashboard. This video will serve as a brief walkthrough to help you navigate the dashboard and give you a sense of the different filters that we've used, as well as what is contained in each of the dashboard views. So you'll notice that we have three different dashboard views. The first is the one that we are currently looking at on screen, which contains the breakdown of the provincial equitable share from 2025-26 to 2028-29. Then we have a dashboard which offers an overview of the provincial budget. And finally, we have a dashboard which offers an overview of the departmental programs. So in the provincial equitable share dashboard, the only filter that you need to be aware of is the filter that allows you to select the financial year and the respective data for that financial year. So we're currently looking at 2027, 2028, and you'll notice that we have three high-level figures. The first contains the total provincial equitable share, excluding conditional grants for the selected year. We then have the average annual MTEF growth for the total provincial equitable share from financial year 2025-26 to 2028-29. And then finally, we have the largest equitable share for the selected year, which again, in this case, is 2027-28. Below this, we have a map that offers a breakdown of the share of the provincial equitable share by province. So this will display the data for the year that you've selected. So we're currently looking at 2027-28, and you'll notice that this will update at the bottom here. As you hover over the map, you can have a look at what each province is allocated percentage-wise for the equitable share, as well as the value. And once again, this will change given the year that you've filtered through at the top. Just another thing to note, it's very easy to get lost in the map as you scroll through. If that happens, you can click on the home button and it will return you to the original view. Moving further down on the dashboard, we continue the provincial equitable share breakdown by offering a representation of the share of the population, equitable share, as well as the average annual MTEF growth for each province for the financial year 2025-26. Moving on to the second dashboard, which is an overview of the provincial budget. Once again, you can view budget data for the selected year. So let's use 2024-25 for this example. We once again have three high-level figures. These figures update based on the year selected. The first of these high-level figures is the total provincial budget for the selected financial year. We then have the largest departmental budget, in this case for 2024-25 is health. And then we have the largest budget change for the selected year. In this case, we are looking at community safety. Below this, we have a tree map, which offers a visualization of the share of total budget by provincial department. This view is also controlled by the year that you've filtered above. So we are currently looking at the share of total budget for financial year 2024-25. And you'll notice that health and education take up the largest share of the provincial budget. And then you can also just hover over some of these smaller squares to have a look at the department allocated to each of these blocks. Further down on this dashboard, we have the provincial budget change. So it's important to note here that we've used an index and we are displaying the budget change relative to 2022-23. You can filter through the different departments using the filter that's currently displayed on screen. You can choose to just view one department, or you can view as many departments as you want, and you can have a look at how these departments perform in relation to the total budget. Okay, so once again, each line shows how a department's budget has changed relative to 2022-2023, which is set to an index value of 100. So even if we look at 2026-27, we'll notice that for agriculture, the index change relative to 2022-2023 is 141. So this essentially represents a 41% increase in the budget relative to 2022-23. Moving on to the final dashboard, we have a breakdown of the various provincial departments and their associated programs. So here you can select which department you would like to have a look at. So let's say we would like to look at education, and we would like to look at the year 2026-2027. So here we once again have our 3 high-level figures. These change depending on the year that you've selected in the filter. So here we have the total departmental budget for 2026-2027. We then have the departmental year-on-year growth for 2026-27. So this is the growth in the budget related to the previous financial year. So this represents a 1.7% increase in the budget from financial year 2025-26. And then finally, we have a share of the provincial budget. So for 2026-27, education had a share of 39.59% in relation to the total provincial budget. And then finally, we have the budget change, once again indexed to 100, with the change represented relative to 2022-2023. Here, we can filter through the different programs contained within this department. So if you are only interested in seeing how administration performed over the 7 financial years, you can simply deselect the rest and have a look at administration on its own. If you'd like to have a look at how administration performed in relation to the total departmental budget, you can select total payments and estimates.